It's the Brad and John Show.
John, I've made it into the C block, the Charlie block.
No, you made it into the C block, but not out of the C block.
I'm a little bit under the weather this morning, and matter of fact, as soon as I get off the air, I'm heading to the hospital. And I'll mention again that, you know what, she called me this morning. Hold on a minute. You mind if I make a quick call here?
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, I don't know if she's going to answer. She called me this morning when we were talking.
Well, she was texting us, I think we could say, yesterday during the show. So...
Yeah, hold on. Hold on a minute. I got the wrong phone number, 314. Okay, we'll call her real quick. This is my former co-host, Shelley Barr, of the BS Show.
Hi.
You're on the air, no potty mouth, okay?
Okay, what's wrong?
You called me earlier.
I know I did.
Why?
Because I wanted to know what was wrong.
With me?
Yes.
Well, let me put it to you this way. I'm doing better than you're doing because you're in the hospital and I'm not, at least not yet. How's that?
Well, I'm still here.
Yeah. So how
are you?
No, seriously, though. It's all about you. You doing better today?
I'm doing much better today. Thank you for asking.
Okay. They going to let you out today?
No.
So
but I'm better than I was yesterday.
Tomorrow they're going to let you out?
Here.
They're going to let you out tomorrow?
Perhaps, yes.
Okay. Did you hear me say this earlier? And I hope you don't get mad at me. I say that if people want to come visit you or call you to contact me and I'll give them the contact information. You're not mad at me about that,
We're not going to be able to do that.
Why not?
No, I'm not mad about that.
Okay.
Because you're going to be in the hospital.
Maybe I'm going to be in your hospital. You don't know that. Okay. So
we're a pair, aren't we?
Yeah, we're a pair. All right. Okay. You doing okay then?
Funny.
So you're feeling better than you were yesterday, correct?
Yes, and yes, I am.
Yes. Okay. I will talk to you later then.
Muchly. Take care of yourself, Brad.
Well, I'm doing better than you. I'm on the outside. You're on the inside, right?
Yeah, that's going to be changing in a few.
Well, we'll see. Okay. Talk to you later.
Seriously, be careful.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Shelley Barr. You know, Shelley is one of those people. You either love Shelley or you hate Shelley. I mean,
nobody hates Shelley.
Well,
how could you possibly hate Shelley?
I won't get into the women's group that she had some problems with.
Oh, yeah, but that's some old Little Black Book drama from a long time ago. And I bet unless you saw it firsthand, now I would believe Shelley's version of the story. I don't know if I would believe a Brad Hildebrand version of the story.
Shelley's version of the story is the same as mine, believe it or not. And I feel sad for how she was treated. But that's a whole other story. We'll move on.
And we're not going to focus on 1% of people who are just bad eggs. We're going to focus on the 99% of people who love Shelley and appreciate her.
Okay. The L.A. riots. And first off, we haven't touched on the fact that the Israelis are bombing the snot out of the Iranians. I mean, you know, John, I will never, as long as I live, I am the son of a World War II veteran. My father was a heroic World War II Army soldier who ultimately spent 40 years, I think, 4 years active duty, 36 years in the reserves, and he fought the Nazis. He fought Hitler on his own turf in Germany and France and other places they had. And then when they conquered, when the Germans finally surrendered in April of 45, my father was transferred to a troop ship and he was going to attack Japan, believe it or not, before they dropped the bombs on Japan and they finally surrendered. Having said that, they wiped out this horrible surge called Nazism, which at its core discriminated against the Jewish people. And when I say discriminated against, they wanted to eliminate the Jewish people from the face of the earth. Wasn't that essentially one of the goals of the Third Reich and Adolf Hitler?
That was that, and they wanted to institute Doge. That's what I've seen from protest signs lately. Nazis are about Hitler and Doge.
I don't understand this current wave of anti-Semitism. I don't get it. I know several Jewish people. One of my best friends was a Jewish guy, Jeff Andrew, when I worked at the old KSLQ. And I have several friends of mine to this day that are Jewish people. I find them to be, for the most part, very smart, fun to be with, fun-loving people, and quite honestly, not too many of them have a hateful bone in their body, as opposed to other nationalities, which shall remain nameless, vis-a-vis some of the Middle Eastern clan, if you know what I'm saying, that all they want to do is kill you, which I have a problem with. Okay, having said that, there's been a surge, and our own senator, Josh Hawley, has come out against the fact that he says that a lot of these protests are being funded by liberal groups, and there's money behind it. Correct, John?
Yeah, you're exactly right. And he's talked about it both regular protests and on college campuses.
Right. Here's a story. This is an investigation that's underway by ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, disrupting Los Angeles. And they say that they're saying they know for a fact this is being perpetrated by these people who are essentially paying these rioters. And how do they know this? Because they've talked to this company in L.A. called Crowds on Demand, okay? Like, you think I'm making this up. Crowds on Demand. Have you ever heard of this before, John?
I haven't heard of this group, no.
It's a California-based company that specializes in providing on-demand crowds for protests. So if you want to protest something...
The professional protester.
Right, you call up Crowds on Demand. And Fox News said they talked to the owner of Crowds on Command, and they said that, quote, they had numerous high-budget requests to get involved with the anti-ICE riots in Los Angeles and other cities. A company spokesman said it declined to get involved in what is happening in Los Angeles because it, quote, did not want to get close to any form of illegal activity, including violence, vandalism, or blocking off roads without a permit. And it says, this is the spokesperson for the Crowds on Demand. We receive inquiries regarding practically every major social cause imaginable, and the anti-ICE demonstrations are no exception. Company said, the fact that we receive requests does not mean we take them in many cases because the budget does not match the ambition. So sometimes they're saying they want 1,000 people and they got a $100 budget. Ain't going to work. So the article goes on to talk about the fact the company added it only takes, quote, on impactful common sense causes, both for liberals and conservatives, but always represents the common sense position. First off, ask anybody, and I can personally vouch for this because, God, it's been more than 10 years ago now. It's coming up on 11 years, hard to believe. I spent much time at the Michael Brown situation up in North County, in NoCo in Ferguson, okay? Then I was not involved, but as a reporter, I had the ghost of Camille Winter who woke me up in the middle of the night and said, Brad, in his Czechoslovakian accent, Brad, remember my class. You need to use your journalism degree. Go out there and report what the other people aren't reporting. So I literally embedded myself with the protesters. I was amongst them, elbow to elbow. As a matter of fact, how do I know? How can I prove this? Not one of my friends, two of my friends, when I was up in Ferguson, called me to tell me. As a matter of fact, the one person called me and said, "Where are you right now?" I go, "I'm in Ferguson." I know exactly where you're at, because you know why? Why is that? Because you're on CNN right now. They were watching me as I was in the crowd, not protesting, but with my camera and my recording equipment, reporting, okay? The other thing was, I've read this story on 2 social media sites. Don't know if this is true or not, that a lot of these social media influencers have been contacted by the anti-ICE groups, essentially offering them 4- and 5-figure payments if they will go on their blog sites, their social media sites, and essentially talk about the positive aspects of what these protesters are doing and the negative aspects of what Trump and the government's doing. Do you believe that, John?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, to be fair, I'm sure that happens a lot in the Israel and Iran and Ukraine and Russia complex as well, that these influencers are paid to show for certain positions, for sure.
Right. And see, I don't know. This whole thing, man, this bothers me. And it's to the point where, oh, by the way, I have to tell you, I found this. Get your headphones off for a minute, okay? Because I'm going to shoot this audio down the line.
I got it.
Okay. I found this the other day. I referenced this last week, and I couldn't find it. Okay, you ready for this? This is Jake Tapper interviewing Lara, Lara Trump. Okay, we're ready? This is the infamous Jake Tapper, who now says, oh, those reporters, they didn't know really what was going on with Trump. I mean, with Biden. Okay, here we go.
Jake, is very clearly a cognitive decline.
Okay.
That's what I'm referring to. It makes me uncomfortable.
You have no.
I can't.
That's so amazing. It's so amazing to me that
try and figure out an answer.
A cognitive decline.
Well, when you're trying to tell me that what I was suggesting was
I think that you were mocking his stutter. Yeah, I think you were mocking his stutter, and I think you have absolutely no standing to diagnose somebody's cognitive decline. I would think that somebody in the Trump family would be more sensitive to people who do not have medical licenses diagnosing politicians from afar. Plenty of people have diagnosed your father from afar, and I'm sure it offends you. Your father.
John, your comment on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think you could make a long supercut of Jake Tapper, among many others, saying things that are clearly not true now. And again, Jake Tapper, I guess his argument, which I haven't invested enough time in learning, is that somebody pulled the wool over his eyes, and he was deceived just like everybody else.
And that's his line now, isn't that?
I think so, right? Isn't that what he says?
But why is it that you and I, who are not within 1,000 miles of the White House, and probably at no point in time ever within 100 miles of the then President of the United States, Joe Biden, who can watch him on TV, watch him, fall off his bicycle, watch him walk off the stage in the wrong direction, watch him walk into the forest when he's at some international agreement meeting in Europe, and you and I go, that dude's got problems. And Jake Tapper says, you're not a medical doctor. You can't make that assessment. Are you making fun of he's got a stutter? I mean, the guy is up close and personal. He spends more time within a couple hundred feet of Joe Biden than practically anybody, and he didn't see any of that, and yet he's going to take on Lara Trump because she's not a medical professional, and yet now he's coming out and saying, I've got this book, and I didn't really realize he was in as bad a shape as he was. John, 2 or 3 years ago, you and I watched these videos and went, this dude's not with it, right?
Yeah, you're exactly right. But you know what, Brad, as progressives would point out before the election, the stakes are so high. And look what happened. Donald Trump got elected, and now we're facing fascism and an oligarchy and an oligarchy and an Olive Garden and every other terrible thing that Donald Trump has brought.
By the way, they closed down the NoCo oligarch or the no.
Wow, was it still open as of a few years ago?
No, I ate there about a year ago.
The one by Clock Tower Plaza, right?
Oh no, this is the one. This is the one over on the Rock Road, just west of 270. That one.
Oh yeah, and there used to be a Red Lobster over there too, right?
Yeah, there still is. I believe. I think it's still open. Yeah, it's on the Rock Road.
Can you imagine being a server at the Red Lobster on the Rock Road? Can you imagine how few people would actually tip you more than 10% there?
Well, John, not to make fun of that, but I can tell you the worst job as a server. You want me to tell you the worst job as a server?
Yeah, please do.
At a family restaurant on Sunday after church.
Oh, because now you love pointing out the hypocrisy of traditional religious people. So I get, is your implication here, Brad, that people would go to church, come eat lunch, and then they listen in the pew for more than an hour about serving your neighbor, but then they refuse to tip more than 10 or 15%.
John, it's not me. Years ago when I was doing the show on KSLQ, there was an article about a minister who called out his flock because of the fact that one of his flock members was a waitress at a particular restaurant. And one day she approached the pastor and said, don't take this the wrong way, but the people in this congregation are the worst tippers because when I work the Sunday shift, nobody wants to work Sunday. Nobody wants to work Sunday days because of the fact that church people are the worst tippers in the world. And he gave a sermon, and it was a big story about it. I called him up and interviewed him, and he said this exact same thing. He said when he was approached by this member of his congregation, young woman who complained about the church people were the worst tippers, he essentially didn't believe it at first. He started talking to other members of the congregation, and they admitted it. They admitted, well, she's doing okay. She's getting an hourly, and she's doing fine.
Ooh, now, Brad, it's probably unfair to take one anecdotal story and apply it to the world's church community, right?
No, because you want to use one anecdotal story and me apply it to the Religious Broadcasters Society?
I don't know, Brad, but I do know that thanks to your work on the Lutheran folks, I can still continue to hear KFUO. Excuse me. I can still continue to hear our station, but much better thanks to the work that you put in, Brad.
But John, and I shouldn't wait till the very end of the show. It's interesting because yesterday I received 2 phone calls from members of the engineering community, the broadcast engineering community. Why did I receive 2 phone calls?
Because they said, hey, why is your signal being interfered with by KFUO?
They are complimenting me on my second objection, official objection through the FCC government website to our friends, or not, I shouldn't say not my friends. They're still my friends. They just haven't seen the light yet. The Lutheran Church Missouri Synod and KFUO, who are interfering with us in 104.5 and who will do nothing about it, even though they told me back in January when I had a meeting with me, they say they would address the problem, and they haven't. So can I just give you, and we'll end the show with this. And I'm not trying to say that I'm a jerk, because sometimes I can be a jerk, but if I give you the last, I see if I find it here real quick. If I give here it is right here. Okay, I will give you the last paragraph of my official, and you can go on the FCC website and read this. It's a long dissertation. I talk about the fact that they have not helped me, they've hurt me. Can I read this real quick?
Yeah, please do.
Therefore, I ask that this application for license cover be denied temporarily, and ask the licensee of K283CI, that's the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod, to file a minor modification to install a true directional antenna with a more significant null to the west and southwest of their transmitter site. The Lutheran Church Missouri Synod is a multi-million-dollar organization who can easily afford such a change. Notwithstanding, this is the right thing to do and the godly thing to do.
You invoked the word that you invoked the G word, Brad.
I did.
The ungodly thing to do. Wow, it's not very godly of them.
That's why I got a couple calls from my brethren in the radio engineering community, because they thought it was interesting that I essentially said what they were doing was not the right thing and it wasn't the godly thing to do. They got a kick out of that, because normally in government filings you don't see stuff like that, right?
And they're probably going to be among the people that come visit you in the hospital today.
Yes, and they're going to be the ones that, as they come into the room, oh, Brad, you're on life support. Oh, I hit the plug. I'm sorry, Brad. How does that plug go in? Oh, I can't get it in. See you, Brad. Bye. That's the way it's going to go.
Brad,
right?
I just want you and your family to know that when I visit your house on Sunday, I will not leave my debit card.
John, there's nothing worth stealing.
I don't know. I hear you got a lead on a few solar panels and lawnmowers, Brad.
John, so we end the week on a high note and a low note for me. Friday the 13th. Hopefully, I will be here on Monday.
You've had a great 90 years, Brad.
and even with me driving around naked on my 90th birthday. Okay, but you know what? I have to admit, I wasn't totally naked. I had my cowboy boots on. Okay.
Oh, Brad. Hey, you know what? Everybody join in Monday for the Brad Hildebrand Memorial Show.
John, say goodbye.
See you Monday.